Bradley Wells.
Christian, we're back.
We're
Doing
back.
it again. Episode number 6.
6, and we are a day early.
Yes.
It's not Friday, just
It is
in
not
case you have to look
Friday,
at
in case
your
anyone
calendar.
was missing that.
No.
It's Thursday, February
13th. 14th, 16th,
No?
15th.
Yeah, it is the 15th of the month.
15th, the day after Thanksgiving. Oh man.
Wow, you want to just like start this all over again?
No, this is so good. It's all perfect. The day after Valentine's Day.
The day after Valentine's Day. So
Wow.
did you have a good turkey dinner last
I
night?
was really hungry. I think that's where it's coming from. I'm really hungry. I'm like, turkey.
All right.
Gravy. I mean, who doesn't want turkey and gravy all the time?
Well, if you haven't been watching this before, I'm Brad from Thank You Surfing, and this is Chris.
From Division Wynwood, as well as First Surf Shop.
That's right, and we are actually here at Division instead of at the first shop like we've been doing the last 5 episodes.
That's right, and it's a little different looking. I mean, you've been here a couple times.
Yeah, I like it.
It's a little bit more concrete. It's a little bit more skate. We got a little tattoo shop that's attached to this as well as an event space, of which, if I can put a little plug in here,
Plug it.
we are having a little event tomorrow night where we're having a discussion on...
So this is
Friday, February... Thank you, please. Help
It's
me out
going to
here.
be the 16th.
16th, February 16th. Tomorrow, Friday, that we are doing a little seminar 101 on Anuramu. Okay, that's kind of backwards. It really just says marijuana 101. And we're doing a little seminar tomorrow here at 7 p.m. to talk about everything medicinal, from your CBD oils to your hand salves to are you smoking the right kind of stuff. And really just, again, going away from the stereotype of your spicoli and kind of just teaching a little bit more of the medicinal values to a wonderful plant that they call marijuana.
Very cool. So you guys are doing some programming here. It's good.
We're trying, if you have ideas, if you want to do stuff, if you want to grab a group and talk about things.
Do you guys have space?
We've got 3,600 square feet. We've got plenty of space. Come down.
That's a lot of feet.
That's a lot of feet.
It's a room for like what, 40 people?
Well, if you've ever been to First Surf Shop, we are about 1,500 square feet, so we are double and a change past that. So we have skate surf shop part here, we've got the tattoo part that goes around the corner, and then the event space in the back, plus a whole courtyard.
Courtyard is awesome.
Courtyard is cool.
Yeah, really.
That we can kind of do stuff. So that is our first little hosting event that we're doing. And if again you have things that you want to talk about, things you want to do, groups you want to gather, we are here to gather and we are here to help you.
Awesome.
We try.
Right. Well, let's talk about the surf that we've had.
Yes.
And
Have we had? We had a little fun weekend.
yeah, there was it's this summertime, springtime pattern that we're in. And
Is
it's
this early? I feel like
super
last week when
early.
we kind of talked about it, we saw this coming up and we are saying, oh, look at this high pressure setting up.
Yep, and
Looks
it
like
did.
Okay.
And then we've been getting kind of bursts of stronger wind, which have given us a little bit of wind swell from time to time at the right tides. Pretty much like we talked about last week, only it happened over the weekend.
Right.
We had really nice weather.
So good.
I know.
And everybody was like out, and it was like just a cool beach day, and
Super fun.
everyone was smiling, and it was like high fives, and it wasn't that big. It was like thigh, maybe waist high.
Yeah.
And not much more than that. But
It broke pretty much Saturday and Sunday.
Yep.
And
a little
the
leftover
weather-
Monday, I think, right?
Yeah. And then the weather was super nice. That's the other thing. So as we got further through the week, at the lower tides, there's been just enough wind to make like a knee-high wave. So if
Right.
you want to get out, you can get out.
And I saw in your post this morning that it was a little bit of a trace swell.
So this is
because I saw
totally-
that and I was like, what are we doing? What's going on?
Yeah, so that's, I guess, sort of indicative of the season that we're kind of in, or the transition that's occurring.
Right, usually coming into spring, we see a little bit more east, southeast winds.
Right, but there was a north swell, sort of just like from this like almost cold front that almost sort of passed us. It didn't really get all the way down,
Right.
but it created, I guess, just enough north wind in our window to create a little swell. And I swear, like mid-morning, there were some sets coming in, even up, like not at the best spots, like
Right.
maybe thigh-high ground swell.
Wow.
And I imagine at the better spots, maybe like probably pushing like waist or stomach high on the peaks. So kind of funny, it showed up out of nowhere. If you walked outside this morning, you kind of felt like it was a little drier, a little cooler than we've had.
You're right.
And
You're right.
that that same sort of system brought a little wave in. Kinda
Wow.
weird.
Seems like weather was behind that, but I just say it's the Bermuda Triangle.
No, that's
really
it.
Is. I mean, I don't get it.
There was no buoy reading that said that there was really any swell in our window. There was not very much wind in our window to even push something into the buoy's readings. All in all, it was just like.
Did you get out today?
No, I worked.
Oh, you worked. I was working.
I love my clients.
Anybody get out there?
I saw some people out. Yeah, I mean, there was like
dogs.
one guy out right when the swell started to pick up, and I was like, that is a very lucky individual.
Lucky swells. Lucky peeps.
Yeah. You know, I mean, this is what it is. Like when you are really dedicated to the game, you can go out there, even in South Beach, and surf by yourself. And I mean, you just got to be that dedicated.
Yeah, there was somebody I knew that surfed a little bit more the Surfside Harbor House area. Johnny, as some would know, they worked for Delta, and he was a little fun shaper, but he was one of those guys that lived across the street and was literally on it all the time.
Yeah.
And he would write it down on his calendar every single year. Would kind of mark it down. It would almost be a great bellwether where you'd call him up and you'd be like, so let me see some of the past of what was going on and kind of give you an idea. But the guy would literally surf 200 days out of the year. And I was like, 200 days here. So it just goes to show that you really have to be on it all the time.
Yeah.
I live across the street from the beach.
No, like I live at the beach and I'm on it like as much as.
And this is before social media for him and any of that stuff. So he wasn't even checking stuff. He was just going outside. He was looking at it.
When you live at the ocean and you see it, you're just like, a wave. Great. I'm going to go surf that wave. And that's pretty much as much as you need to do in terms of forecasting.
Well, you need to do that and then go to First Surf Shop right afterwards. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I mean,
right on the beach. Come on, say it.
It's a nice thing to do. So, what else we got
That's
going
good.
on
I mean,
this week?
coming on surf, do we see anything coming up?
I mean, more the same, really. And,
Right.
it's kind of interesting that...
Because I saw like the 7 to 10 and there was nothing favorable on there.
Yeah, the whole 7 to 10 day forecast is pretty minimal. We are seeing, like we talked about before, this kind of like east-southeast sort of pattern.
Right.
And it is creating a bit of trade swell up above the Bahama Bank. So if you were, say, like in Satellite Beach, anywhere in the Space Coast this morning, it was beautiful waves. Chest high, glassy, groundswell. And I just don't see any of that here.
I was talking to the Larson clan, which is an old school Miami family here. Their daughters Zoe and Mia are killing it out there, but they're going up tomorrow, and they were saying that Fort Pierce or in that Central Florida area should be pretty good, kind of glassy.
Yeah. So we've got, like I said, like this trade swell, this east-southeast, kind of 3 to 4, maybe at 9-10 seconds, and that's great. That's great size for Florida, and when you can get good winds with it, it's definitely worth the trip. It's just kind of hard to push yourself to go up there when you know
What's the
it's
guarantee
not
like? It's still kind of like a 50-50. You go up there, good possibility of getting skunked, or you're getting waves nonetheless?
No, you're definitely going to get waves. Okay. It's just a matter of whether you're willing to go up for waist-high waves.
As a lot of us are.
Yeah, I mean, you got to kind of change your
mentality. I work all the time. I never go up.
We've gone up a couple times and scored.
Good, that works.
Yeah, so that's it. I mean, we're going to have some waves locally. You just got to have to wait for the right tide and like the wind to push up just enough to make some waves. And then up coast, if you're watching the winds, every time there's not wind, there's probably a little wave. So, yeah, definitely rideable.
Anything coming up this weekend as far as happenings? I know last weekend, or was it this last weekend or was it the weekend before, it was a Surf Rider event. And then not much happens last weekend. Anything else coming up within the realms? I know that first we don't have anything relatively soon. Tomorrow we have a little event with Division. We're at Division with medical marijuana. Thank you, surfing.
Well, actually, the only thing that I can think of is Jose's wedding. That's
Jose.
Yeah, what's up, Jose? Also,
congratulations. I'm excited for you. We were about to do this live casting at your wedding, but Brad decided he wanted to do it today. And I
thought it'd be nicer.
Boring. I know, it's good. Although, I haven't met your wife yet, but when I do, I will tell her this story and be like, you're lucky that I didn't do this on your wedding.
It might have been a nice idea.
I think it would be funny.
I mean, we still could reconsider and do it. I don't think so.
I'm coming after.
But that's the only thing going on, really. That's my weekend plan is basically hang out at Jose's wedding.
Well, it is boat show in town as well, so there are activities
There
going
is
on.
boat show.
From Key Biscayne all the way up to mid-Miami Beach up in Foyers. There is first surf shop on the beach, and we're always having a good time, so we go swing by there. Did I just shamelessly plug 3 times? Oh, so good.
I mean, you gotta do it. That's your job.
I do gotta do it.
What else? Oh, on Thank You Surfing, we posted a local lens from Annie.
Annie to Roger. And Coffin to Roger.
And it is pretty awesome.
Yeah, she shoots amazing stuff.
And it's, you know, someone walked by my desk when I was posting all this stuff on the blog, and it's a guy that does branding, super smart guy, and I was like, you know, these are just like, they're somehow different, and like, he took like a halfway sideways glance and just said, yeah, those are moments in time. Those aren't like images that she went out to capture.
Right.
I'm like, oh my God, you're right. That's exactly what it is. And I guess that's the magic of it. You know, like Annie's out there enough to know when it's a magical moment, and she sits there and just goes, bop, and then it just turns into that sort of like gold.
Absolutely. No, she has a good finger on that pulse.
And then, yeah, I mean, the best days of the year, she's pretty much behind the lens. Yep. For part of it, if not
which is
surfing.
crazy because she kills it surfing.
I know.
Like longboard and shortboard.
That's got to be part of it too.
And she used to be an amateur pro. For those of you that know Annie and maybe not know a lot of her background, I mean, she kind of killed it and was kind of on that forefront. You know, almost wanted to see her be as good as she was younger 10 years later, when there was a lot more attention to it, right? Like it was like girls were like fighting boys to try to get some sort of attention. This was like just as Roxy was starting to come around, just as Lisa Anderson was kind of having a little bit more of carrying that flag of like the first like hardcore women. I mean, there were so many great women surfers before that, Frida Zamba and everyone else, but you know, Annie growing up at that point, such amazing talent.
Tough road to plow.
It's so hard. But, you know, she's one of the East Coast girls that were kind of doing stuff.
She still kills it?
Still kills it on a longboard. Great stilo.
Yeah. So we posted, normally we post, you know, about 10 pictures, and she sent over like a whole barrage of stuff.
She probably has thousands.
Oh my God.
And so many that nobody's seen.
Yeah, as a matter of fact.
And she's so critical in her own stuff that she's probably like, that's not worth it, that's not worth it. Whereas any one of us would look at it and would be like,
I'll take it.
Yeah. Like, can I frame that?
Exactly. Actually, one of the images we posted was a flip, and Flip was like, I had never seen that shot. I was like, and it's a really, really good shot.
I wonder how many pictures are out there between Annie that we're talking about, as well as all the other artists or like photographers that are gone on. Like, imagine, like, so many good shots. Like, there's so many of us that are just like, God, I never made a great pic. Pic might be somewhere.
No, it's definitely in someone's hard drive, sitting like, or a external hard drive, like rotting away in a closet.
We really
somewhere.
need to go ahead and do one of those photo exposés that we had done before once at the shop, where we just have all the local photographers do it again. I mean, it's a great time. We hang out, we have some brews, we eat some amazing tacos.
Oh, yeah.
This guy kills a fucking taco game. You really do. Like, I mean, if you're gonna have a taco stand, I would go. I mean, it's great. Shredded beef and stuff like that is.
Maybe another career option.
I'm just saying, we got a little space in the back, 3600.
Oh, you do have 30.
Yeah, we do.
I do
little
like
pop-up.
to cook. I do.
I mean, can this be now our anchor spot? Well, I don't know. Maybe our anchor spot, maybe we move it as far as doing our Thank You Surfing live.
We can do it from everywhere.
Yeah.
That's the beauty of it. We are live and direct from where we're sitting.
Where we are.
Where we're sitting.
We are in Wynwood on 26th and 5th Ave.
Yeah.
And we have fun back here. I mean, it's a little bit kind of off the beaten path, which is why we came out here. Like, everybody is kind of moving in this direction off of 2nd Avenue in this way. And we said, hey, let's have some fun. We got some empty streets. We'll throw some little skate ramps out there.
It's a big space, especially considering how much outdoor space you have.
But it's so fun. I keep inviting people out here. I'm like, let's go party. Like, I've got so much room. Let's do some poker matches. Yossi, I'm eyeballing you. And, you know, so we'll try to keep doing fun stuff.
I like being here. It's definitely a nice change. If you check out the Instagram story I did before, you'll see some of this stuff.
Oh, like a sneaky bugger. I haven't seen it.
Yeah. So we do have some other stuff to talk about this week. The first thing, and I don't know this about you, so I'm actually kind of interested to know. is how did you learn how to surf? That is it. You know, learning to surf in general. I want to know how you learned to surf and just your thoughts on learning to surf, because it's not easy.
Nope.
And
if you don't have any sort of resources around you to tap into, I mean, well, granted now there's, you know, so much of the internet that you can kind of tap into. You can see videos, you can do all that stuff. But when we were growing up, there were no videos. I mean, the fact that you could even ask somebody was one of like kind of like this cool thing where you're like, if you have to ask, you don't know, or you shouldn't be doing it.
Okay, so
like,
that's what you felt like.
Yeah,
very
and I'm totally like the not cool kid. That like I was just kind of blending in and just wanted to be a wallflower. I didn't want to like stir the pot. And I grew up on like your 71st Street Normandy Isle area, so a lot of the areas I learned to surf were on 69th Street in Collins. And back then,
this is all in Miami Beach, Florida.
Miami Beach, Florida. And back then there was a surf shop called Tradewinds that had just opened up on 69th with Sam and Jaime Brunstein. And the other shops that were north of us were Island Water Sports, and then as well as Bird Surf Shop. And then to the south of us,
well, you had some shops.
Right, it was Exile, and there was sort of, I mean, we've had a rich surf culture since the late 30s. Okay. You know, we've had so many shops that have come through there. So for me, growing up in that mid-beach area, I was able to access Harbor House and Hall over to the north, and then kind of hang out at South Beach. But in each place,
that was kind of like your range.
Yeah, but each place is I made sure that I made.
So
I didn't make any ripples. I mean, it's like I just made sure.
But before that, like.
Oh, day one, it was Woolworth. There was a Woolworth on 73rd Street in Collins in Miami Beach, and they had the styrofoam boards. I'm sorry, that is not eco-friendly whatsoever.
But David, you got out there, right?
Right. So and what I would do is like at the low tide, I would run with the little waves, and I would go and try to jump on them. I tried to jump on them, and I split a couple, and my mom was so mad. And it was one of those things because they broke so easy. They were not meant to be surfed in.
No.
But now that I think about it, they had all these rails underneath. There was no fins and stuff like that. They might have been a little bit more advanced in their time. Anyway, so past that,
so that was it. On. So but how did you even decide that you wanted to do that?
My mom got me into it.
No way.
My mom's Peruvian, and you know we have a lot of coastline, and we lived on the beach. And I guess at some point she was like, we were always going to the beach because she loved the beach. So at that point she was like, you know, here this is happening, other things you lay on this, and I'm like, lay on it, I don't want to stand on it. And then I broke it, and I was like, meh. And then, you know, and then all of a sudden you have like little Maury boogie boards that you try to stand on, and then the Maury boogie boards with like the little fins that clip, that like came in and out, right? This is, like if you got that Maury boogie board, you were stoked, and yes, we all started boogieing at some point.
So all right, that's basically how I started.
And then I got like a $50 used board, a Damien surfboard with a green fin that was like the longest thing that at low tide, if you kept on surfing, it would hit the sandbar, it would like launch you forward. And I got that from Tradewinds Surf Shop, and then you kind of grew from there.
So who taught you like even how to stand on a board or anything? You just figured it out? But I mean, did you watch other people or?
Right, I mean, at the local beach that I was at on 69th, 65th, it's not like we had a lot of people. There was like some local kids I went to school with that we kind of did that, and then you would go to the other beaches and you would get on your board and you'd paddle because, back then, Corky Carroll and these guys and everybody on the ASP had it for the contest. Anytime the contest was on like Channel 39 or something like that, the WB back in the day, and they would have surf contests there, and you would kind of watch that. And of course, like when I was a kid, North Shore, the movie came out, so I think a lot of it was just watching and saying, okay, I see this is what it's supposed to be like. And I think as a kid, you learn so much more. You learn so much quicker.
Really?
Yeah, because like I think someone teaches you the mechanics, or you see the way it's supposed to do, and there's no preconceived notions. There's no I can't do that. You see it and you try to do it, and then you just do it. You know, and I've noticed that in teaching people as well, that kids pick it up a lot quicker than adults do, and I think a lot of that is that preconceived notion.
Yeah,
you know. So I mean, that was kind of how I started and kind of grew from there. But there was nobody to talk to. Hey, Ami James.
Very nice, my friend. Very nice. I like that. Hey, everybody. How are you? How are you doing? Very nice, my friend here. Very good surf. Yeah.
Yes?
Good.
What's this? You've got thing in tooth.
I have something very nice, huh?
Yes. Santi, if you want to join us, little buddy. Yeah, come on in. Ladies and gentlemen, we're bringing in Santi Sans, some heavy artillery.
It's too nice of a car to be fucking driving around here.
And somebody you'd love to ask questions on, how do you get such perfect hair after taking your motorcycle helmet off? I don't get it. Welcome, Santi Sans. Okay, come on in, buddy.
Hey.
There you go. Cheers. Welcome.
Thank you.
Officially. Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers. Welcome to the show.
Welcome to the show. Currently, Bradley had asked me about learning to surf and how I learned to surf and
I remember
kind of how that
first
process. How old were you and how did you learn?
So, I remember I lived in Kendall. Well, initially I moved to the States. Lived in Club Atlanta, so 26 in Collins. Never thought about surfing. Little kid. Moved out to Kendall, but.
So he lived on the beach. You're like surfing. I don't know, but when you went inland, you're like,
that's
I kind of like the beach.
Yeah, it's like, ooh, I missed something. I don't know what it is. I think it's the beach. Ended up going. I think I was about 12 or 13. And I remember taking the bus. This is when Don Carter's was on 137th.
Don Carter's.
Yeah. So
Yes.
137th. I'd walked to Don Carter's with actually, my first board I had was probably like an SBU hand-me-down from probably like Dennis.
What's crazy, do you think you'd be able to make it on the Metro bus these days with a board anymore? Like I knew as a kid, because I'd take it from Normandy, and I'd be able to take the surfboard. I don't think they would do it anymore. Those things are so packed.
Yeah. So I would actually, I remember on the way back, I was fucking full of sand.
Bus drivers mad at you because they have to sleep out there. Where the bus drivers actually swept and did stuff out.
But I was young enough where they wouldn't give me shit.
Right.
Like, oh, he's a little kid, he's here by himself, where though his parents saw, don't worry about him. It's a different time, you know, before like abductions and all that. So, so I take the bus from Don Carter's to the Metro to Government Center, take a bus to the beach, and I'd go with like two of my buddies, surf for the rest of like the whole day, and eventually come back. Well, backtrack a couple years back, I used to skimboard, believe it or not.
We all did.
I shouldn't even said that.
That's okay.
Whatever. I used to skimboard. I broke my femur on fucking Second, and that's on Second Street. I broke my femur. Put me out. Yeah,
Skimming or rollerblading? Just kidding. Just kidding. For those of you that rollerblade, I'm just kidding. That's fine. That was fine.
But yeah, that was
was
basically, and I remember the first like actual wave where I actually rode the line. I was like I said, it was like an SBU. It was probably like a 6'5". I was maybe like, I don't know, 5 feet at the time. It was like 5 feet. And I remember, and it was right off the jetty with the old pier. And I remember riding the wave and realizing like I'm not riding whitewater, you know, like
it's
I'm
the
like,
wave.
it's
It's
like
not
a fucking wave, like
a wave.
it's like a face,
Right.
and I'm riding, I'm like, I'm doing it, and then it's like, and then I just hit a rock.
I was gonna say, I felt like I'm like, and then I hit the
And
pier.
I swear, like
Right.
since that day, I was like, all right, I'm doing this for the rest of my life.
Wow. That's pretty
How did you even get the motivation to leave Kendall? I mean, because it's not.
There's really
it takes
no.
like 3
you don't
hours
really need
to
a lot
get
of.
there.
Well, you don't really need a lot of motivation to leave Kendall.
Especially
you
back then.
You just leave.
I
especially
think
back then.
Kendall was like maybe the western edge of Miami back then.
It was
Like,
the Wild West. There was really nothing there.
Like, you'd
There
probably
was
still
Don
be able to
Carter's,
see
there was-
gators walking streets.
Right. It was just, I remember it was Don Carter's and the Publix and a lot of fields.
Right.
And maybe like one
Nothing
or two
else to
like
do.
there's
Right.
really nothing to do.
But it seems like there was a lot of skaters that came out of like that Kendall, South Miami area.
Yeah.
Because
'Cause there
in
was
a
nothing else
sense
to
there
do.
was nothing else to
Skate.
do, and there was plenty of area to kind of do that. And skate. Skate was cool. Skate is cool.
What was that? Yeah, there was some bank. There was never mind. But yeah, Kendall skateboarding. That was the only thing I had to do until we.
Bradley, where did you? I mean, I'm guessing originally from New York. That learning to surf was in New York. How old were you when you started?
Started?
Surfing when you first kind of figured it
like
out. Or?
when I finally like got like a wave, I was probably 13.
Yeah, I mean, I agree.
I've been surfing
I
before.
learned when I was like 10 or 11, but I don't think I like knew how to surf until I was like 13 or 14. From just like not being, inconsistencies. Mom
I'm still
can't
learning.
take you
I'm
all
still
the time.
learning how to surf.
I know.
Yeah, for
I know.
sure.
That cut pack is so eluding.
I was really young when I wanted to do it. I knew from like the time I was like 5 or 6 that I had older brothers, and like they used to bring magazines home, and I'd be like, I want to do that, like that.
So your older brothers were surfing ahead of you, or
They a little bit.
They tried it.
They skated.
Right.
They used a boogie board. They
so some
surfed
sort
a
of
bit.
board riding component?
Exactly. And so I started skating when I was like 5, and then snowboarding came in. I started snowboarding a lot. And so surfing was like the next thing for me. And I was like, for sure. And I was already in the ocean, boogie boarding and stuff a lot. And my mom was like, no, the sharks will get you.
Yeah.
And I was like,
and how was that wetsuit life growing up? Was
part
wetsuit
of it.
just part of your life? That
Yeah.
I mean, because growing up down here, like we wore wetsuits, maybe if you could afford one, once a year. But I wonder what that was like growing up.
I bought a wetsuit. I have a picture of me in a wetsuit that I bought that I gave my parents to buy me at Costco or like whatever, Sam's Club or something like that when I was probably like 9 years old or
Can
something.
you go on a limb and say it was probably too big on you?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you
enormous.
get like full
Right.
water.
Yeah.
Like a
Stitching
water
was
balloon.
weird. The
I-
whole structure
But
of it
I
was
looked
bad.
awesome.
Yes.
I was like ready to go.
You're like, let me get some Zinca up in there.
Oh, I had some Zinca, man. I was like the late 80s, early 90s. I was ready for it.
Absolutely.
And so, so I was like really like about it. And my folks, my brothers, no one I knew was. Like nobody wanted to go surfing. And so I just like kept it as something that I always wanted to
Did
do.
you live close to the beach?
I lived like 10 miles from the beach, something like that.
How'd you get down there?
My folks would take me. We go to the beach a lot, like all the summer long. We go to the beach, and eventually.
How about community like? What did you?
No,
was
nothing.
there?
When I was like,
Because I felt like growing up here, it wasn't as if there was like a huge surf community. It was. I almost compare it to what
there was so
to
much-
like Venice back in the
There
'70s
was,
and the
there
dog
were so
pound
many
days.
like things keeping you from it, like
Here,
especially like the
especially.
old locals that would
Right.
just shit on you. Like
Shit
you're just
on
like
you.
it's like
Like
you're trying to
grown-ass
like,
men
you
that
try,
would kick
yeah,
your
'cause
ass.
you didn't know how to turn a board, so you kind of like run into them or you drop in and you didn't know how to like kick out of the
Yeah.
wave.
because like you said,
you
no one
just
taught
scream
you.
at it, yeah,
Right.
and
No
you
one taught
just
you anything. And so
Nothing.
you're like, wait, that's not allowed. I wasn't supposed to do what I just did. I didn't even know that was a thing.
And back then,
it's-
before there were
it's-
lawyers,
It's a great
there was
feeling
always
when you're
lawyers.
about to get your ass kicked by a
Right.
grown man.
Grown-ass man.
Probably 10 or 11 years old, which is that's surfing in.
Right, and
That's how people learn how to
And
surf.
it's funny because there's this, a conversation that we constantly have back and forth with people, and you're just like, some people miss that localism where they're just like, it's necessary to have somebody that barks in the water.
Yeah.
That kind of
Well,
like regulates
it
the
is.
situation.
I mean,
and
that's
then
what
there's
gets you
like,
to be
and then there's like the free form where you're just like, oh, we should be educating people more, which we should absolutely.
Both.
No,
And
you learn by trial and error. That's it.
lumps and bruises.
Yeah.
I mean, but yeah, listen,
Nobody's
for my side, and what I do out of the surf shop is I try to like educate to the level of, hey, you go out somewhere and you're new,
Yeah, but you're a
you
fucking
look.
saint.
Well, I'm just trying to spread the allure. But at the end of the day, you're just saying, look, common sense. You go out somewhere, you see a bunch of people. Chances are the surf's pretty decent there. There's plenty of waves breaking everywhere.
Right.
Find yourself in another area when you feel like you get to that point. Then you graduate and you say, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and test myself over there. But surfing is so much like chess. Aside the waves, and I mean, for us, we have to constantly like size the waves up. But at the same time, who can surf well? Who doesn't surf well? Some surfers look like they want to catch more lefts than they do rights. Some people are better on their backside, on their front side. And so, but like, if you're able to go out there, size people up while you're there, I mean, it kind of adds to the game. I mean, for what we lack on surf, we got to pick it up in mental games.
Not necessarily like size people up, but I mean, they give people shit if they get in your way, or if you get in their way. It's just a common courtesy, like, hey, my bad.
Well, there's rules.
Right.
There's rules to the lineup,
Right.
and we all know those rules.
But
through
did you know
experience.
those rules when
Hell
you
no.
right? You
Exactly.
learn by trial and error, and it's like, oh
Right.
shit, I should.
Right. So, and then when a situation happens, are you the type of person that is going to help educate the moment, or are you going to go, well,
I'm educating people.
I'm
all
I mean, if
the
it's a
time.
young kid, I'd be like, come here.
Yeah, exactly.
But if it's
Yeah.
like somebody my age, I mean, there's that defensive.
But at the same time,
wall
you got to
that you're
realize
like,
maybe they
fuck,
don't
you
even
should
know either.
You're my age, you should fucking know this.
But
by
maybe
now.
they don't.
Yeah,
Because
well,
there's a lot
I'm
of
not
people
gonna.
start
I'm not
late.
gonna go buy him a beer over it.
Yeah.
Like, hey, let's go have a fucking talk. Let's go to Ted's and fucking. No, it's not.
With the little kids, though, I mean, for
Right.
sure. And
Yeah, little kids for sure.
And
sometimes,
and
like-
little,
but, like,
like,
if you
is
look-
a relative word now. There was a kid the other day, like I looked at him, I was like,
Yeah.
this.
It's a grown man.
Yeah, this is a grown ass man.
Somebody
Like
to
he could definitely be sent off to war. I know he drove here, and he just has no idea what he's doing.
But at the same
all.
time, because people are learning late as well.
Yeah,
I mean, there's
and
plenty
you
of
can't
people
fault
like
them
my business
for that.
partner Mark Ames didn't learn to surf really until he was like 16. 16, which is a little bit later in the sense of whatever.
Yeah,
but the guy, but the,
sworn he knew.
no, but the guy, but he's been such a great skater as a kid and just had such great natural talent that he picked it up at 16, and within like that, he was able to just like kill it. And and there's people that pick it up late that just never get it.
Yeah, but I hate that saying. It's like, oh, you skateboard, then you can definitely surf.
No way. That's not even.
Well, listen, it's the same thing. Well, they tell me that with snowboarding, and I've never really snowboarded. I tried it once on ice, and everyone's just like, "Oh, you surf, you'll be fine."
I remember they told me, "Oh, you'll pick up, you skate and surf, you'll pick up."
Hard?
No, dude.
No?
Until you're fucking tumbling down the fucking
mountains.
mountains. Yeah, I mean, it's until you realize, okay, this is nothing like I've ever fucking done before. Like, it's just trial and error.
Yeah.
All right, let's switch topics here because you bring up something interesting. So this is the next thing that I was looking to talk about. Snowboarding's on in the Olympics now. Surfing is coming up for the Olympics. And what do you guys think about the Olympics taking stuff like snowboarding and surfing and putting it into that like global competitive level?
Personally,
Yeah.
I hate it.
Really?
Is there any reason why I started skateboarding, surfing, is because it was just something that none of the fucking jocks did, you know?
Okay.
It was like my own little, counterculture shit. Like it was my own little.
But did you do it to be like rebellious?
100%.
Really?
Yeah, of course. It was just something that it was like, I mean, back in, the late 80s, early 90s, it's like, it was, I didn't play football with fucking Johnny and fucking Tony, you know what I mean? Like, I skateboarded because I wanted to do something different, and I listened to punk rock because it was different. It was, testing the establishment. So once it becomes popularized and gets kind of in the norm, it fucking sucks. It's like, you take away that, like, at least it takes away my nostalgia.
Right, well, it takes away that little special place that you felt like you.
Right, it was mine. Now it's everybody's. Like,
right.
That sucks.
Right.
I mean, that's my own personal.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
It's a very valid and very widely held opinion, and for good reason. I mean, from a surfing standpoint, waves are definitely here a very scarce resource.
Right.
There's only so many waves coming in a year, and if you're there, you're there, and if you're not
in the future. I mean, it's
well, now with wave pools, right?
All right,
and that's where that kind of segues into and stuff. But to go back on your point about snowboarding and stuff like that. Watching Chloe Kim win her gold, watching Shaun White.
Nestor talking shit already. Santi talks a lot of shit.
I talk a lot of shit. Santi wears Rico's on there.
All right, so we're getting some.
I do.
We're getting some comments here.
Thank you, Rico.
We're getting some comments here from the internet.
The peanut gallery.
Rico, you could have at least washed those underwears before.
But going back on that, you have these snowboarders that are just so good in general. And like when you Shaun White's first run was pretty epic, and you thought, "Fuck, this guy's 31." Not that that's old, but like in that terms, it is. And he was like laying it down, and then the Japanese guy comes and one-ups him, and you're just like, "How does he beat that?" And then his second run was half the score of what he had before, and you're like, "Man, he's got one more run to make this happen to beat the guy." This is the top of the game and stuff like that. So like. As it is, these guys are pushing at such a high level. And then on top of that, they're getting amped at what they're seeing in front of them. And it's enough to push them to the next level and still deliver under such hard pressures and win to that point. And at that point, for me, that's exciting. Like, I see little things like...
That's how you become a fan.
Right. I see little things like the way that he would tweak his neck and really pull his neck up to the turns that he was doing, and the way that he would drastically pull that neck was how much spin he was going to get, and then the way that he delivered and stuff like that. And it was just impressive to watch.
It's just cool, I think, run to run to be able to kind of compare apples to apples.
Right.
You can't do that in surfing.
Right.
No, but
and from a competitive standpoint,
but it's
that's
funny. Like
interesting.
you hear the tricks on, like you hear Shaun White talk about his run, and it's like corkscrew 540. It's like I can't even fucking put that shit. Like I can't even like I can't even imagine. And he does it.
Right.
And I don't know. I just think like snowboarding. I mean, it's cool, but
it looks
it's
easy.
just no. It's so fucking. It's so mind-boggling. Like it's like a 720 on a snowboard is like it's normal. That's what people do.
Yeah.
It's like it's.
Well, they've raised the bar. They've raised this.
Right, but
That's what's cool about it.
Well, I mean, because at the end of the day, the normal isn't normal anymore. Like I probably would
just
have
don't
a hard
get
time
it.
going
Like,
straight.
too many degrees.
Okay, well then how does this work into like now the surfing route? Because snowboarding's been around for a little while, for a couple Olympics now.
Yeah.
Surfing is now jumping into the realm of the Olympic sports. And I mean, have they mentioned what? I know WSL is involved a little bit. So are we
going
going?
to be a wave pool.
But are we going off the Kelly wave pool?
I think so.
I mean, because there's a couple other wave pools that are coming online, and then,
pretty
or
sure
are they
we're
creating
getting-
their own? Or are they going? I mean,
I'm pretty sure it's going to be the Kelly wave pool.
That guy's got pool.
Kelly's got pool.
Stop.
And it's
Kelly
gonna
called
be-
me.
Kelly Sater has pool?
Oh my god.
Nah, no way.
It's
Outer known, everyone. Sold at First Surf Shop.
First
Just come
shop,
swing
just so you
by.
know how many?
Hey, you
What
know,
is it, 20?
that was like my sixth point.
$20.
Oh no, no.
Sorry, $30
Yes.
without the bro discount. Can I get a discount, bro?
It's going to be very interesting to see how surfing transitions into it. Because snowboarding was already like apples to apples, so it was kind of easy. This is like a major leap in competitive surfing because it's going to be in a pool.
Well, let me.
And style plays into this as well, because how do you rate style, or do they take that away? Because obviously the judging criteria has got to be different.
But think about it. 30 years ago, they didn't even let snowboarders get on the lifts to go on the top of the mountain. Now, and all of a sudden,
Really?
yeah. Steve Cavallero put a post on Instagram with like some like.
I started snowboarding.
Yeah, I'm saying
then.
they wouldn't, and now it's part of the Olympics. Where they wouldn't even let the people practice.
There's
the
still
sport,
mountains in
where,
the United States
where
where you're not allowed to
surfing has
snowboard.
been
Really?
practiced for so many fucking years, and is more acceptable. Yet snowboarding is part of the Olympics, and surfing is.
Right.
So
Well, I think there was a controlled environment, obviously. Surfing, some of the beauty of it is the unruly, on the fact that it's just it's completely different.
Unpredictability,
Right, yeah. And I think that's that forever love affair that we have with the ocean.
how many days have you like? It's like, oh, we're gonna have to postpone this contest because the swell just hasn't filled in. It's so frustrating.
Right, well, that's
Like,
why we never
surfing in
have
general is
contests.
frustrating, right?
Exactly.
Well, I mean, so it comes up on the next Olympics, and I guess there's going to be different judging criteria. What that wave pool is going to look like, we don't really know. I mean, but it is an even playing field, right? I mean, in a sense, it's
It
an
should
even
be.
playing field,
It
right?
should be.
Because honestly, they're going to have rights, and then they're going to have lefts, and whether you're goofy or regular, you're going to have to hit it. And
Are you gonna?
what do they judge? What do they judge? Because obviously, if a wave like Kelly's has barrel section, has some launch pad sections,
But I'm
has
saying,
some
that
rail
whole
sections.
like priority thing is gonna go out of. It's
Yeah.
gonna be
Right,
No, it's
right. So
just
they're
it's
quite,
like you
so
have
like, let's just
your
say,
turn, my
right,
turn.
right.
That
How many
sucks.
runs? Right,
That
you have 3
sucks.
runs. You have 3 runs to kind of kill it.
So it's like you have this. These are your fucking 5 waves.
Right. Well, but I mean,
There's
listen.
no like that.
top 2 waves.
It's
the whole
different.
competitive like aspect of it sucks.
Or do-
which
The wave-
surfing itself should never be
Wave
competitive.
selection ends.
But
You know,
at the end of the
that's
day,
thing.
Right,
this is
right.
the-
It's like it's always the same wave.
But this is
every
the
single
Olympics.
time.
Yeah.
But this is the Olympics, right? You're
Right.
supposed to be at the creme of the creme. So they're giving you 3 shots.
Cramp.
It's
3
kinda
shots.
cool.
You're getting 3 shots to make it happen, right? In snowboarding, he has 3 opportunities to be able to get the best score. And at that point, it's just, this is where nerves, this is where skill, and this is where ability kind of comes in.
lot
What
of
do they have
preparation.
in the like Winter Olympics? They have like the cross country.
Right.
So there's still like natural aspects where it's like now they said that they had to postpone the whole like cross
Right,
country
but they
thing
have unnatural
because of the
aspects.
winds and
Right,
whatnot.
right.
And snowboarding is the half pipe. The half
Right.
pipe is basically
It's
Right.
slopestyle.
It's,
Right.
And
it's
down.
Right.
ice. I mean, yeah, there is some wind effect to it.
There
but-
is. I mean,
They're
those
not-
guys had some wind that they had to kind of
Yeah,
deal with,
and
and
like
when
the
you're doing
conditions
rotations,
change
maybe that
over the
changes.
day, the
Maybe that
half pipe
changes your
isn't exactly
routine.
the same.
Right.
Right, like
Right,
water
drift on there,
And
and
water's
then-
never gonna ever react the same way every single time.
Right.
So
It's
it's
a little
gonna
more
be a
humid.
little
Is it right?
But it's just the ability to go like apples to apples in
Impossible.
competitive surfing is closer.
So where does
now
that
than
where
ever.
does that spill over into everyday life when
Oh, it'll
pools
just-
come into it? Is this going to highlight it, and then all of a sudden there are municipalities across the country, across the world,
Oh, you know what,
that are
actually-
going to be like, hey,
Skating's gonna
Come.
have probably a pretty good.
I hope not.
Yeah, so, like, think about
I hope
skating.
skating to stay.
Well, skating like
never already
if
is,
you
it's really
once
good.
the first skate park was built, when someone or even like the first kid was like, I want to build a kicker and a rail on my driveway, we were like, that's a skate park, and like all of a sudden there was consistency as opposed to
But it
like
was still
I'm gonna
yours.
ollie this curve,
It's
I'm
still
gonna ollie this
yours,
curve.
you know? It's still-
Right, but
is
now
that
there's
where maybe
skate
it
parks.
goes? Maybe aside the skate parks that are more public, like maybe Division creates a little skate area around the blocks here in Wynwood, and then all of a sudden that creates your own outdoor skate park. That it's like not necessarily enclosed within a fence.
When is that gonna happen?
Oh, I don't know. It's gonna happen.
There's a lot of promises that I think that gets like shouted out through this.
Yeah,
There's like
innuendos.
little
Listen,
dropped
you
here
just
and there.
drop a
I'm
little
like,
subtleness, you know?
is that a breadcrumb that I need to follow?
I don't know. I don't know.
So far, I think the
Hey,
things that I'm
Grant.
picking up are like there's some
Handsome
sort of
Gretel.
shaping that
I
may
see
be
a
going
little-
down. There's some sort of skate
I
park
don't
that
know
may
what
be
you're
going
talking
down.
about.
There's
I don't
like-
know what you're talking about. I'm not stirring any pot at all.
No, you never does that. We had a lot of other stuff to talk about.
We
today.
do. What else we got? We
Where
got.
are we at? We're on.
We're like 40
We're
minutes
Learning
in.
show. We
40
still have-
minutes in. Are we gonna go full hour?
I don't know.
I think we make it happen. I mean, we got some
I'm gonna
topics.
go get some more
All right.
drink.
Okay.
We'll keep this down for you. All right, you top it. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
This guy is great. We gotta invite him more often.
Don't talk shit. Don't talk shit.
Listen,
So-
Joey Blasco's got that plenty unlocked for you.
I wanted to go back to learning to surf because this is a kind of a strange one for me. I talked about how I wanted to. I was involved in other board sports. How it was kind of going to happen at some point.
Right.
And when I finally started going actually surfing. Got a board. I'd have my folks take me out to the beach to go surfing. Happened at the exact same time that like the internet happened.
Ah,
And so I used to like
midnight, early.
or late 90s,
Late
like
90s?
mid like 95,
Forget
96.
he's younger.
Yeah, yeah.
Kids.
95, 96, 97, 98. Like when you're getting the CDs of AOL like mailed to your house. That was when I was learning how to surf, and
Yes.
I'd put those things in, and then the first thing I'd go do, I was like, there's got to be something to do with surfing in here somewhere. And lo and behold, like, I would find things about surfing in these like.
Wow, you
little
were way
online-
more inquisitive on surfing than I was back then. That's
I was
awesome.
and about 99, I found a website
Still looking at magazines.
called it was Dadeco Surf. What is now
Yes,
Dadeco
Dadeco
Surf?
Surf. And that's kind of where I knew more about you, because you had just moved down here, and everybody was following Dadeco Surf, because that was kind of our like little surf blog area where everyone would talk story and kind of just talk about surf and blah, blah, blah. And I mean, I don't think we had a cam.
Yeah, no,
Right,
you had a
right,
cam for a long
right,
time.
because there was also surfmiami.com.
No, so the Dadeco Surf started at the University of Miami by a researcher named Tom Cook.
Tom Cook.
And it used to be I remember the URL, it used to be at storm.rasmus.edu/cook/surf. You can't use that URL anymore.
No.
But you could dial up dadecosurf.com, which is where that site moved to after Tom moved to
Right, because I remember there was a
Slips.
certain point in which the guys over there handed you the reins.
Well, that was years. That was like
surf
10 years.
forecasting.
That was
Because I remember you would chime in on certain
Yeah,
blogs,
yeah.
and then everybody would hail you as like the man in surf forecasting. I was like, this Brad Wells, this guy knows what's up.
That was a
And I expected him to be like this really older guy.
It was a decade after I found that website.
Huh.
I was 10 years in. I found that site when I first came to school at University of Miami and studied meteorology. That was like my Bible, and Tom and I shared notes. I followed the blog like that he wrote all the time. And then I left, it kept going, it kind of had momentum of its own. And then when I came back, their forecaster had moved to, Greg moved to Costa Rica.
Right.
And
Greg Gordon.
Yeah, what's up, Greg? crsurf.com. Check that out. Great
Awesome.
website. And yeah, I kind of felt it was like my responsibility. It was like a website that let me go surfing
Right.
in Florida when I moved here in 2000. And I was like, well, I kind of owe a debt of gratitude to the whole surf community here.
And the community here, I think, owes you a debt of gratitude because you've honestly have done a lot in the sense of being a little bit more accurate, because our surf reports are pretty squirrely, or our surf charts and how we do things in surf in general is really squirrely.
It's hard.
And it's so hard, and like you go off of blogs and stuff, and I'd always said, like, from the old timers to now, it's like you could have been surfing South Beach your whole life and still not figure it out.
So
Would
hard.
you say it's one of the most hardest and intriguing areas to kind of forecast?
Yeah, without question. Our swell window is super narrow. The storms that pass through it move very, very, very quickly. Thank you.
Mazel.
So it's really hard. But like I was saying, like I learned to surf through websites. NewYorkSurf.com was a forum that I used to be on, like all through the late '90s through.
How old are you?
36.
Like 18?
But like, do you
No,
remember?
but
Do you
it's
remember
funny,
the? Do you remember the blog that was Dadeco Surf?
Yeah, of course.
And then people would
Yeah.
kind of talk about surf and whatnot, this whatever. And I remember when they handed the guys were forecasting there, that was so good.
I
Handed
forget
the
the
reins.
internet is only like 15 years old.
They handed
It's
the
so
reins
crazy.
over to him to forecast stuff. And I remember when Brad came on, Brad Wells, and I really kind of expected him to be like this older dude, but right? Because it's like you think meteorology, you think people have been studying it their whole lives, and you're like, oh, he's got probably like really weird eyebrows.
I
and
do.
like-
I did. This is getting a
I'm
little,
with you there.
little
Yeah.
bushy.
Definitely.
And he was much older, and you're not, and that's kind of cool. And he's kind of just like doing stuff. And I was saying, like, you know, our little local surf community owes him a little debt of gratitude, as well as anybody that's come before him.
I came here in 2000. I went to school from 2000 to 2004.
At UM for meteorology.
Well, yeah, I wasn't. Actually, I came back in 2000. I came to California in 2003.
And then I came
So
back
yeah,
in
you've
2000.
been here longer, like yeah.
Back.
Yeah. So you've been here for a minute. Still
longer
in
than
the same
7
apartment where you like?
Yeah.
Oh, awesome.
17 years.
No. I moved back to New York.
Okay. 12 years.
Yeah. But yeah, I learned to surf like through the internet and like the NewYorkSurf.com forum. There's other guys that forecast for that region, and like I compare notes and we do all the forecasting. My brother was a photographer. He used to like develop film in the
That's fucking
their
bad.
dark room.
Still a fan.
In high school, and so like my little brother would develop the film, take the photos. We started shaping boards. We started doing all this stuff up there, like as the internet was happening at the same time. And so my brother had like the banner for New York Surf was his photo, and
Wow.
like, we'd trade notes about shaping boards and
That's killer.
where we were going. And that's how I learned all this stuff. And it was like from, like you said, basically like a bunch of old guys that were
Right.
like had an outlet
Right.
to spout this stuff all of a
Right.
sudden. And I just like soaked it up. I'd take out every book at the public library about surfing, stuff like that.
So as a kid, you obviously have the internal endless energy to
Drive.
want to learn
I wish
and
I had
stuff.
that energy
So
when
where,
I was young.
exactly where does someone go with that now? That might be a little bit older, looking to maybe surf, that loves the culture, loves
Here.
it, they see it.
You're-
right, but yeah,
Thank you, surfing.com. That is the place. If you want to go surfing, come here. Like we will get you sorted out. That's
What
it.
does someone that is older, right? Obviously,
Yeah.
because we all have our things where I'm too old, I can't learn to surf.
Mm-hmm.
I'm in my 30s, I'm in my 40s, I'm in my 50s, whatever. I can't surf anymore.
That's so funny.
Oh, we're doing
Why
something
am I- why
live?
am I
Oh,
like
that's so
looking
weird.
at?
It's like
It's like looking at my phone. I'm so rude. Sorry.
so rude.
Uh,
But like,
where do you go?
It is
where do you go?
on
I mean, obviously,
local
there's-
surf shop.
Right.
For sure. First stop, go into the local surf shop. Say I want to surf, and
Go into the
And-
local surf shop
and-
and be like, hey, I'm a kook, I want to learn to surf.
Yeah, for
hey,
sure.
but seriously, you look, everybody's a kook at one point or another, right?
Exactly. Still a
I
kook.
still am.
That's how
I
you.
lob that one for whoever wants to take it. Lob it like this.
Still a kook.
That's how you got to do it. Just-
Hashtag still a kook.
And the faster you admit that, the faster you'd be admitted into the tribe of surfers.
Right.
It's like, I'm a kook. You're like, yeah, me too.
Right.
I'm working on this. You're working on that.
Or you have the other person that's like, I'm a
Whatever.
kook, is like, well, beat it. You're like, go down that way. But at least, you know, you get something. But you're right. I think nowadays, from surf shops and stuff like that, there are more people that are willing to go ahead and help you if you're honest about things. Like if you sit in the water and you're looking all awkward and stuff, and you're like, and I've had people come to me like, I don't want to get in your way, just tell me where you want me. And you're like, oh, you're cool.
That's
Listen,
cool as shit.
Yeah, right. Because at the end of the day, you're like, cool. I'm glad you're at least aware enough to say, I'm not that great. Am I in your fucking way? And then you
You
just
know
say, hey, move down this way or move down that way. The currents are moving in a certain direction. It's going to pull you
that's
to
another
us.
thing. How many times not necessarily Miami, but how many times have you had to like jump off your board and have to like save somebody from fucking drowning?
Right. So this is a whole other topic.
Right.
Like
Who's got another hour?
surfers. And actually, maybe we should save that for another day because that is a
Yeah,
really good
yeah,
topic
yeah.
because it's true.
I've had to do that in Nicaragua. I've had to do it in Costa Rica. And it's like, I'm from Miami.
Right,
It's
yeah.
like, believe it or not, Miami is probably the most dangerous place to learn how to surf with the rips.
Sure.
And
Well, it's like a river mouth. It's like you're
Not
figuring
only that,
out
but
like
it's
tides, wind.
And it's like that Victoria Sea Northeast chop. I mean,
Yeah.
that's some dangerous shit. I mean, you get
I will-
held down. You get held down for a couple minutes. I mean, that's fucking paranoia right there.
Right. Well, I mean, we have a jetty that sits south of us at the end of the beach, and with the northeast wind that's coming against that, everything kind of gets just piled in there.
Yeah.
Rip currents, everything.
It's just like
it's like a cesspool of nastiness.
It's just a washing machine of shit.
But those peaks are fucking pretty exhilarating, and it's one of those things where you're just like
the crap.
It is like full kamikaze, like
victory at sea.
Right.
Yes.
And some people like it.
Just go out there.
Just dun, 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 dun.
Every 20th wave is makeable.
Well,
oh my god, I got a great drop.
Right, and that's after like
down.
super fitness of like for 20 minutes you're paddling north constantly just to be able to like
Get
not lose
down.
as much ground. You're losing ground, but not lose as much, so that at least when that set comes through, hopefully you're like in position on that part of the sandbar that can take that wave as it comes across that rip that's coming across the face just before you get to
Everything has to be
right.
perfect.
I mean, stars have to align, abacuses have to happen. You know, but this is us. This is what we do.
Seriously, to continue to be a surfer at least in Miami. I mean, South Florida. You know, once you get past Bahama Islands, that you're actually getting some
Palm Beach and north.
Right, Palm Beach and north.
Right out of the
To
shadow.
continue to surf in Broward, Dade County, like you got to really be a fucking masochist. And really hate
17th
yourself
Street
and
people in
just,
Fort
like,
Lauderdale.
have, like,
That's
some
what
kind
we're
of-
talking about. You know? Although I know about your little secret spot just south of there.
I don't even know.
All right. Well, there's we talked about learning how to surf. We talked about surfing and
Have we talked
snowboarding in the
about
Olympics.
Quiver?
That we have not talked about having a quiver of boards. And one of the things that we try to do at Thank You Surfing is try to make surfing slightly more welcoming and approachable to people. People may not realize what a quiver is or why you would even have more than one surfboard. So,
Where do you think they got the term quiver?
We should read some of these comments. Like, you guys gonna like incorporate
I know.
more of this.
Well, we
What
were
about-
hoping that we'd have a third person, and she would be a lot better looking than you. And I'm not, no offense,
Sorry to
but you do have
disappoint.
gray hair, by the way. And we thought
Sorry
that
to
with that
disappoint.
third person, we
Yeah,
go ahead
but
and
what
read some
about
of this.
head high,
Oh,
4
what-
second period paddle outs?
Yeah. All right. So we are getting some
Where's
comments
the
here.
invite?
Rudy, you know I
Rudy.
invited you. Joey's back in. Joey Blasco is a flamer. Oh, you know, see, I saw the
We're getting a lot
Santi
of
like,
comments here.
oh.
Hey, look, Nestor, I still love you.
All right, let's get
Happy
past this.
Valentine's.
So you're talking about how South Beach can be very tricky to surf because it could be pretty much flat, or it could be giant overhead
Or
chop,
you get Nestor screaming at you.
or there
for
could
2
be someone
seconds.
yelling at you about dropping in or coming too close or whatever. And so you need to have
fucking barn.
a whole quiver of boards.
Right.
And a quiver is just a selection for people that are
Unbelievable.
uninitiated that
Well, I find that
I
it's
paid
kind
you
of
for that. I
it's
paid you for
interesting.
that ding, asshole. I'm sorry. I'm just reading the comments.
Well,
I
text
paid
him.
you for that. Yeah,
Text him.
sorry.
Thank you.
I paid you for that ding.
Well, I find it interesting that a quiver is also what the archerists.
archers.
Is that what they're called?
Archers.
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 Road. It's weird. There's certain words that just you can't even say. Archerist. You have a quiver of arrows.
Yes.
Right.
Many
And so-
different arrows
and I
for
wonder
different things.
Right. So I wonder, and if or that is where it came from.
It's got to come from that.
Right. But I find that you can probably nail your quiver
Uh-huh.
in 3 boards.
Okay, so you're talking about the 3-board quiver.
3-board
5'7"
quiver.
to 5'8" and 5'9".
No. Fucking hipsters, really. Honestly.
I mean, to surf at South Beach, and if you want to do the 200-day thing like
Right.
we were talking about
Right.
earlier, you're going to have a longboard.
Guaranteed. You'll never get rid of your longboard. Why is it so hard to
listen,
find
do you
a
have a
used
No,
longboard
no,
out there?
I-
Because
look,
nobody
I-
lets go of it.
Uh-huh.
Let me tell you that I have a bad hip, and because of it, listen, I'm older.
I wish we could do stuff where it's like
Yeah,
hashtag
so-
old man problems.
Yeah, old man problems. So, yeah, I have a fun board. I have a 7.0, and that thing is the funnest fucking thing ever. I enjoy the shit out of it.
7.0.
And I would never have, like, even fathomed that
And when do
I'm
you
pushing
ride
up to fucking 40. So
When
it's
do you-
like,
when do you
"Ooh, I
ride
want
it?"
to keep surfing, so, yeah.
When do you ride it? When it's
Most of the
good, or
time?
when it's
No, definitely not when it's good. It's when it's shit. But
Uh-huh.
I can see myself at least learning how to like maneuver the board, like, you know, stepping back, stepping on the tail, you know, getting up to the nose to get into, you know, like
Right.
the short pound or
Right.
whatever. So if I want to keep, I mean, look, we're all gonna get older.
You're all doing it.
So
Work
eventually,
hard
if you
against
want to keep surfing, eventually you're gonna have to get to that point.
Adjust.
Yeah,
Right.
Yeah, and that's another reason to have a quiver. You know, like
and equipment is a lot in just every sport.
am I wearing a wetsuit? Am I not wearing a wetsuit? Do the waves have a lot of push, or the waves kind of backing off and mushy?
Which as a Florida surfer was something new for me when I first went West Coast to go surf over there, was you thought you would use your same board and it would kind of work out well, but all of a sudden the constriction of the wetsuit, the little bit extra weight that you pulled on, all of a sudden held me back a little
On the
bit.
West Coast, you can get away with just having like one board. You can.
We're right, because the waves are good nonetheless. But let's go back to the longboard. I mean, I feel like down here, because you don't find longboards for sale used all that often, it's because everybody holds on to it. So I tell people, I'm like, they're like, oh, longboard, I'd love to be able to have something I don't have to go ahead and adjust to. I'm like, trust me, you're always going to need a longboard.
Yeah.
I mean, look,
Or fun shape, mid-length, 7.5
shape,
and up.
yeah, I wouldn't say longboard. I mean, anything like 7 to 8 foot.
Right.
Yeah.
I call those.
Well, longboard is like 9 foot and up, right?
8 foot and up, hypothetically. 8.5.
I go 9 and up for a longboard. Really.
Yeah, that's what
I mean, if
meant.
you really want to have a longboard. But yeah, I mean, but there's shorter people out there.
I like to take the
okay.
same sort of outline of a longboard and squish it down into the 7 to 8
Joey
foot range.
Gravy.
I didn't say he did. But how many boards
The
would you
elevator
say?
special. You know, something that fits in your elevator in your building,
Which
something
is
that
usually,
fits
from what I
inside of a car with
Right.
the seat down or something.
Yeah, at least something you can actually get the hatchback.
Exactly.
But I feel like most cars, if you're able to go from the trunk all the way straight through, you can
Right.
get a 9.0 in there.
Yeah, you still can't close the trunk though.
Yeah, you can.
I've seen it. It's
Really?
crazy.
Right, yeah, absolutely. And then even in elevators, they're roughly
So
9 foot
weird.
and change from corner to corner. So in most elevators, you're able to kind of get a 9 footer at least in there. But how many boards would you say how many boards would you have as your quiver? How many, that you feel, okay, let's go.
Oh my,
let's go that bare minimum. Bare minimum.
Three.
Gotta have at least three.
Three.
Yeah.
Bare minimum?
Right. So I'm just saying, if you were just to go minimum because you're on a budget, right? So I personally, let me go ahead and throw mine out there. I'm going to have a longboard. I'm
You got
going
boards
to
for sale.
have
Anybody wants?
first
Hit
surf
me
shop.
up.
Sells a test.
Are you serious?
So
Yeah.
I would do a longboard. I would do a fat little full volume board from nose to tail, rail to rail. Something that's kind of quirky for like your thigh to chest
Like
high.
hipster board.
I guess whatever. Like something that would be comparable
Okay, so
to
you
your
got
retro fish.
a longboard retro fish,
Right. And then you're kind of like your thumbtail. For me, because I'm a big boy, fuller board. That's you're anywhere between 6'0" and top 6'3", and I'm 5'11". So I feel like nowadays you're getting your standard shortboard for a real wave at your height to no more than 3 inches above.
In Florida?
I think in general, if you're surfing in most places, and that's just me.
I mean, depends on look.
My
I mean,
boards are all
if you're
tiny
if
now.
you're
even
speaking-
if it's a shortboard that's going to be your regular shortboard, how tall are you?
that's what I'm saying. It depends on
5'11". What would your real shortboard be?
My real
How old? Wait, how tall are you?
5'11".
Like your shortboard. What would you? What,
The last shortboard and only shortboard I bought in 20 years is 5'8".
Shortboard.
That's short.
Well,
yeah.
but how many liters?
Yeah.
How much
How many
float is
liters
it?
and how wide?
31 liters.
Okay. And
5'8",
19.
What board is it?
The hip drive, grip drive.
Ah, the Quiver Killer.
that's-
well, that's why they call it the
yeah,
Quiver
that's-
Killer. They're it's just one board for everything. You can ride that thing as a shortboard as well as.
No, you can't. You really can't.
Really?
No. I've definitely
Tried it on smaller surf?
Yes, I've ridden it in
I have
smaller
no other
stuff.
choice. I have to.
I've ridden it in bigger
There's that.
stuff.
That's part of it, too.
I mean, it has.
Do you like it on the smaller or the bigger?
But the thing is,
bigger.
but that Hypto, that 5'8", as a shortboard really translates into your 5'11", would
Which-
translate to a 6'0". I mean,
I guess
my
identity-wise, if
yeah.
you were going for a Hypto,
My
because the
C
Hypto is more of a
shapes
hybrid version of your
5'10",
shortboard.
or something
And is it
like
what? Is that like a shortboard?
But how many
Your
liters
standard?
is that? Probably
32.
32. Yeah.
What do you weigh?
170 pounds.
170 pounds, 32 liters.
No,
195 to
something more
2
than
bills. I'm at 33 to 37 liters. I'm going 33.
Wait. I'm going up to 33 liters.
Oh, we gotta end because we're gonna get cut off on Instagram.
Oh, 32 seconds
That's it. We
remaining.
only get.
Wow, we only get maybe an hour.
Yeah.
I think
So
that's where I'll,
thank you guys for joining us. This is Talk Story episode number 6.
I'm Chris from Division and First Surf Shop. This is Santi Sanz, and he's got some of the best hair you'll ever find. Mark Amis, you've got
Brad
some
Wells,
competition.
Thank You Surfing. We'll catch you guys next time. Bye!